And good early morning to many of you. I feel like I'm on a morning show. Good morning. I'm actually waiting for my beautiful friend, Laleh. Her and I have a short little conversation and invitation for you all. Yay, I think she's here. Welcome. And guess what? This live will be in English, so I hope many of you can stay. Si no hablan inglés, quédense para recibir la energía. Tengo a mi querida amiga Laleh que me está acompañando esta mañana para una conversación aquí sobre algo que le llamamos la voz correcta para ti. So, welcome everyone. And Laleh, I think I've requested you to come on. Let's see if we can get her on. Interesting. What else is possible? Let's see if you see my invitation. Laleh. So I'm excited to invite Laleh. She's been someone I've known for many, many years. Laleh is unable to join. Why? All right, we're gonna have to try this again and see what else is possible. Yes, I was not yet. Yay!
Yeah,
Never give up, never quit. Here we are.
definitely not. I love how we always bypass Facebook and Instagram's rules and regulations, you know?
It's like you said, no, what? That doesn't work in my universe. You'll have to change
Nope,
something.
nope, does not work.
It's so wonderful to see you, Laleh, and welcome everyone to this spontaneous live. And Laleh is out in Europe, and I'm here in Northern California. And with this incredible topic, Laleh, would you like to share a little about what we're up to?
Well, what are we up to? Nobody knows, not even us. No, I'm just kidding. Well, you and I were actually together at the Right Voice for You certified facilitator training, and we had lunch together, and we were really, really grateful for this amazing tools and this program that we get to facilitate around the globe. And one of the things we talked about is how most people, like how they react when they're put on the spot with a camera, with a microphone or anything else. It's like they turn off, they walk away, or like they change who they actually are. They just go into like avoidance and want to stay away. And we were looking at how we were always the ones who were willing to grab the mic. We were willing to be in front of that camera. And like, what's really possible when we're not allowing anything or anyone turn us off,
Yeah, yeah.
and instead grab that moment and that possibility, even if you are going to sound funny, even if it's not going to look good, even if it's, you know what I mean? Like those
Hmm.
moments, because like we go into like, do I look good? Am I wearing the right thing? Am I going to say the right thing? Am I going to do the right thing? Instead of like, how much fun can I have just playing, having fun?
I love it because this is we're gonna get together and facilitate a Right Voice for You intro, and we were looking like, what could the title be? And so this new energy of mic on, it's like it's on. It's like you're right in front of the camera, or people are all looking at you because you've been waiting in line to ask a question, or you're beginning to voice maybe what a lot of people are, afraid to voice, perhaps, or beginning to say no to certain things. But I have this story, Lale, and I would say this one was probably one that we had an event out in Sao Paulo, Brazil, years ago. And there was probably close to 1,000 people live and another 3,000 online. And I was headed up the stage to give the welcome before we started. and wearing heels, going up the stage, my heel gets caught on the rubber mat. And I started to fumble and very close to falling right in front of the stage as everybody was looking, and then just caught myself, walked on. But I remember I went to the mic and I had a laugh, and I'm all, well, that's one way to get up on stage. Like,
I
what?
remember that. I was there.
How many other possibilities? But I still remember it stood out. Like, I just, and then I continued. But my friend, David Gubis wrote to me and he's all, how did you do that? Like, you know, so one of the things that I've learned is that sense to be willing to be able to laugh at yourself, like not take you seriously, you know, and this what you're speaking about when the camera's on or the mic is on and what we do to hesitate. I still catch myself, I see that camera, it's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm taller, I'm thinner, and what angle are they coming at? And it's just like, okay, what if that didn't matter? So that willingness to let that go. Um, so if you notice yourself, in front of a camera on a mic with these different energies, you're not wrong. Like there's so many things that come to play, and that willingness just to go, okay, funny that I'm doing that. What else would I like to choose?
And it's like we didn't learn that anywhere.
No.
Like really the tools of right voice for you is the first time ever we're given permission to get it wrong. Like everyone else teaches you, you have to do A plus B plus C plus D is the only formula. Otherwise, you didn't do your public speaking correctly. Gosh, Sylvia, you didn't even walk on stage correctly, like, but it really is that moment of how many people that was their biggest fear. What if I fall before I get to the stage? And by you, like, we fumbled a little bit, but by you standing tall and being okay with it, and then receiving the energies, because some people
Yeah.
were like, oh, is she gonna fall or not? You're like, and some people being your cheerleader, like, yeah, she did it, like it's such an inspiration. And that's something no one teaches you. Our parents don't teach you, our
Yeah.
teachers don't teach us. Nowhere in college or any career do they even show you that, but that's true living.
Mm. Yes. And I'm so grateful you said that. I remember there was another moment where I was up on the stage and I don't see very well from a distance, right? So I didn't have my glasses on and up on stage welcoming people again. But this time I was like, how are you? And I just laughed and I go, but the funny thing is, if you're making funny faces at me or anything, I can't see them. So I'm good. But again, like that humor. And I remember walking off stage and Gary's all, you should do a class on presenting. I go, who, me? I go, what do you mean? He's all, you're living. But this energy that you're talking about living, because when we're following a script or when we think we have to get it perfect or so worried about the image, people don't have that ease of receiving you or being received. This sense of really that relaxation, like you said, it's like, oh, someone else isn't worried about being perfect, or they didn't have to, run off
Yeah.
stage because of X, Y, or Z. That, yeah, I've seen it. I have lived the other side. Um, when there was someone performing something and they didn't have ease in the function of their body, so it
Mm.
wasn't flowing like it would for many other people, but they
Yeah.
were giving it their all. They had this
Oh.
joy and this exuberance and moving through the stage and in singing that it made me cry. It
Oh.
made me cry because there was such a joy to see someone so expressed and not stopping in the face of things not being perfect. Like, and that I thought, wow, more of that in the world. And actually, that's what inspired me to become a Right Voice for You facilitator. It was actually that performance or that
Ooh.
gentleman that went up on stage and gave 110% that inspired me to tears, but to also that vulnerability of showing up just as you be.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I was when you and I were talking about this, like it actually reminded me of like different people that attend my Right Voice for You classes. because sometimes we think it's like, oh, it's a public speaker or it's somebody who's doing it for XYZ. Like there's this one lady, she actually came because she didn't know how to talk to her kids.
Mm.
Like it was always a fight between them. And it was so beautiful to watch. Like a mom, you usually think of like, we have a lot of points of views about moms, but it's like her vulnerability of like, she just learned, hey, I'm being a bad mom if I do this or whatever. And her like judgment of, am I being a good mom? Am I being a bad mom? Am I like all of that conflict in her world wasn't even allowing her to have a conversation with her kids.
Mhm.
And watching her through being at the mic, like just that alone like melted everything in her world.
Mm.
And when she left the class, it was like, I love that because people come and then they leave transformed so different, like they're softer, they're more confident, they have more joy, they want to be seen, like different people, different things. But like, it was so beautiful because it was like her melting was so different, and
Mm.
it was the judgments melting away and allowing her true being to shine. And that just always makes me just want to cry, like it's just so
Yeah.
beautiful to me.
And that I gotta say thank you, Lale, because that is, I mean, when I see that, as people,
Yeah.
open up and change things, I was like, how did I get so lucky to contribute to this to the world? Because I know that they'll go to whether it's something at a meeting, whether it's them beginning to get their business out in the world, whatever it is, they have more of a presence of them
Yeah.
that yeah, that can just show up so different. I had an experience in this last one of my last Right Voice for You classes out in Bogota, and there was this gentleman, and he came up, and was sharing something, and we did a couple exercises, and every time we he shifted something, chose something different, it's like he would just get rid of another layer, another layer, another layer. And then at the end, it wasn't even about what he was saying, but it just changed so much in front of our eyes. And when we went out to lunch, there was a couple of the ladies that said it to this gentleman. It's like, when you first walked in or I met you, like I didn't even want to get near you. Like there was this repulsion. And then at the end, they're like, oh my gosh, we so adore you now. So it's
Oh,
like everywhere we think we have to have these images and masks of what we think we should look like, that's not allowing people to really receive us or engage with us. It's like that's part of the gift of Right Voice for You, that it's not about let's memorize your script and get it right and do these. It really is like letting go of those layers of what you thought you needed to do, you needed to be, to show up. And it's so the opposite. So
yeah.
I love that one. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, like, when you said that, I'm like, like that's what we used to talk about is like, we don't even know we have a mask.
Yes. I'm sure there's
You,
still a couple here. Yes, right.
it's like, okay, I'm talking to this person, therefore I have to wear this mask. And there is an art of knowing your audience and
Right.
having a conversation that applies to that audience.
Hmm.
Um, but what if you didn't have to give up any part of who you are to have that conversation? And that's the piece that for me, like when I first learned the tools, I remember one of the things that really stood out for me was, I'm an executive and I was an executive at a particular organization at that time, working with a faith-based organization. And it was really interesting because it was like the face of the consultant, you know, and then the face of mom in front of my kids and like the face of like with my friends or whatever, and I realized, wow, that's a lot of work. like like having all these different parts of me depending on who I was, but when I didn't have to look at it from that angle, but and this is a journey. I wouldn't say I've
Yeah.
accomplished, I'm at a point like, okay, I hit my destination. It's not a destination, but like each day as I come more present with me and more grateful for my being, then it is including all those things you think are the good things about you, those things that aren't so good. but it's like having all of you, but being very present to what your environment requires. And
Hmm.
yes, maybe you might not say certain words in this crowd that you might in a different crowd, but that's not giving up on you or
Right.
cutting off parts of you. That's actually being all of you and knowing your audience. So there's this, you know, uh, mm, yeah, there's this difference, and I think a lot of times people think that's that mask, but you gotta
Yeah.
let go of the mask to let your true you shine.
Yes. And that, like, that's so projected at us, right? You should be this way or you should be that way when you're here or there. One, like you said, it's like, okay, what's required in this moment or with these people? And I remember I was teaching a Spanish class in a company where in that class there was a mix of people coming to learn Spanish. And the lady that had hired me to come in, she was like, okay, just so you know, you have this executive in your room. She is actually the attorney for the company, and this person is that person. And I was like, irrelevant. They're all Spanish beginners, you know?
Ah,
So one of the things that I enjoyed, it's like not allowing whatever the labels or the roles are, like having that be present, but also engaging people with whatever the situation is or whatever the topic is. But that's been a lot of fun because it's also for me not to have to become something else that I thought I needed to become because it's the executive or this department or, so that sense of using it, but also allowing yourself to know and ask. And this is the gift of the Access Consciousness tools with Right Voice for You, is you get to ask and bring forward like, what's required here now? What can I be here to actually invite whatever energy, whatever you're looking to, have a conversation about. So yeah, stepping out of the box that you thought you needed to be in to deliver what you thought you needed to deliver could be so different.
and the beauty of it is like, each person in the class is coming for a different reason.
Hmm.
Like, so there is no one thing. Like, there are plenty of people who come because they want to have more ease speaking at work. And then there's others who come who, like, there was this young lady, she was 11 years old. She came because she tried out twice for her school, or no, she didn't try out. She attempted to try out for two plays. She was so nervous each time. She had to
Mm,
walk off stage and she was so embarrassed,
wow.
and then she'd come actually with her mom, and her mom came because she wanted to ask for a raise at work and didn't know how. So this young lady, though, like after that class, oh my gosh, she got the, not only did she get to be on the play, but she was the head role in the play.
Wow.
And she started coaching the other kids who
Mm,
were having like moments of freezing, or like she started applying the tools to them so
yeah.
that they could learn that they didn't have to freak out either. And it was
Yeah.
this such a beautiful thing because it's, you get empowered, but then you get to be that source to empower others too.
Yes.
It's
That's
so
a beautiful.
beautiful.
That
Yeah.
is. And I love what you say because there are so many people that something pulls them to this class. Like there may be one specific thing, and then they leave with so much more, right? It might be this, getting a raise at work, and then you have this sense and confidence, and then you start to choose something different. So I love that we have 11-year-olds and people of all walks of life that come to this class. And, with that said, Lale, we get to facilitate this class online as well. The 3-day class we facilitate live only because there are different exercises and there's that sense of really gifting the body with these exercises as well. But we have one coming up at the end of the month, and I'm grateful to explore this of, mic on and inviting all of us, to show up and be us and have our voice. And your voice may be waiting to be expressed through your art, through your dance, the way you walk. I mean, in so many different ways. And I wonder, what can this intro invite, to those of you that are listening or considering this intro that we'll have at the end of the month? Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite was realizing how many people use their voice in their cooking.
Yes, I definitely do it when I make tortillas. Yeah, I may seduce you as I make my tortilla, but yes, I do. Did I ever tell
So
you that when I was 12 years old, my father said that I could only have a boyfriend when I learned to make tortillas? So the energy was infused there. I was like, oh, am I good? I'm so good at making tortillas.
I love it. I love it. So I wonder, what can we create? And you have us two silly women here that will definitely have a good time, whatever we do. So I really am looking
Yeah,
forward to who will be joining us on the 30th, and that we get to play with this, and that, mic on doesn't have to be the serious thing, but that it can become whatever you would like it to be.
exactly. And what would you like there to be more of on the planet that you can be the catalyst to bring that? So I look forward to exploring that. And I so look forward to having this class with you, Lale. Big hugs to you. Have a
Big
beautiful
hugs.
evening. And thank you
You
all for
too.
listening. If you have any questions about this intro, and Lale, where can they find you for other classes that you have coming up?
For me, globalwellnessforall.com/events has all our events. So it's a really great place to
Great,
see what's coming up next. Yeah.
great. All right. Well, thank you,
Thank
everyone. Have
you.
a beautiful
Thank you,
rest of your
Sylvia.
Saturday.
Bye,
Ciao.
guys.